When we avoid causal language in a study that really requires us to have causal inference and causal action implications, we're obscuring what the question was in the first place. Why are we measuring chocolate and Alzheimer's? Well, we want to know, should I eat more or less chocolate? The association for chocolate and Alzheimer's in this particular case doesn't mean anything without causation. And so when we take away the words that we're using to describe the problem, we're taking away what the problem is in the first place. So it becomes very confusing. So we're taking a statement about the strength of the study and mixing it with what the question is in the first place, and it's hard to disentangle the two. The other issue is that once you have made it impossible to disentangle these two ideas, what you have done is you've made it very deniable about what you're doing in the first place. So if I do this chocolate and Alzheimer's study, and a reviewer or somebody else comes to me and says, well, that's not great for these causal inference reasons. You have all these confounders you didn't deal with. You have all this missing data. That's not good causal inference. And then I come back and say, well, I said association. That's not causation. You can't criticize me. I have that rhetorical shield I can use so that I can't be criticized for the real purpose of what I'm doing, which ultimately in this particular case is causation. One of the really difficult parts about having high-quality causal inference is that you have to eliminate almost everything else, or at least make sure that the other things that are not the causal effect of interest are relatively small compared to the thing that we're actually interested in. So there are a few ways that you can go about that. You can try to adjust for a lot of different things. You can try to adjust for socioeconomic factors and all of these different kinds of things. Adjust for the part of the universe that is not the causal effect of interest. You can try to sidestep it. So that's kind of what a randomized controlled trial does, is it allows us in most circumstances to be able to say, I don't need to worry about adjusting for all of these things, because the idea of randomization is that if we force this sort of randomization to happen, if we force this situation to be unrelated to all of those things, then we can look sort of cleanly at our outcome of interest. There are other ways you can try to get at this too. There could be natural experiments where you have a situation that conveniently you are sidestepping things, which is always nice to have, but relatively rare. The real trick is whether you're adjusting for things or whether you're looking for natural experiments, you really need to eliminate almost everything else. And that makes it incredibly difficult, and you can't always do that. In fact, you can't usually do that. So causal inference is very, very hard. The most important part of approaching these questions is be honest with yourself and be honest with your audience. Hiding behind words like association doesn't make the causation go away, it just makes it hide. Have some introspection. Talk to people who are actually going to be using this information and figure out what it is that they actually need. What do they actually want, and what do you actually want? And that conversation will often produce an idea of to what degree do we actually need causation and causal inference? And that allows you to go back and say, okay, can we actually inform that question?